Welcome to EDH Deckbuilding. I am your host, Drake Bellwether. Today, I thought I would start this channel off by actually building a deck in real time. So, I'm not sure how everyone else goes about building their decks, but since this is what the channel is mostly going to be about, I thought I would build an actual deck in, for the most part, real time. I don't know. Obviously, I'm going to have to edit this video a little bit, but it's going to be pretty close to what you see is what you get. And the reason I'm doing this is, first of all, to help, people who are new to the format to, the tools that you can use to help you. The other thing, I was watching, I think it was the Command Zone, and they were talking about how it takes them 3 weeks to build a deck or something like that. Now, I don't know if that includes playtesting or what, but I thought that was bizarre considering it takes me half an hour tops. So I'm going to go through the steps with you using this is the method that I use. So, and I'm even going to make it challenging. So first of all, let's start with the tools that I use. I use Magic the Gathering Gatherer. This is the Gatherer website. So it's basically just a search engine for Magic cards, and there's lots of different filters you can set. You can go to the advanced one. I use the advanced one probably more to, if you're looking for certain creature types, certain power levels, all that kind of good stuff, but I'll show you exactly how that's used when we get there. I also use EDH Rec a lot. When I first discovered this site, I had been playing Commander for a couple of years before I discovered this site, and man, I give a huge shout out to them because I just love the statistics of the game, and more particularly, I like knowing, I like to see the numbers. The commanders that people are using. I personally avoid popular commanders for a number of reasons that I will probably talk about in another video, because time is a factor here. So when I start making a deck, basically I have three things in mind. Either I have a commander that I want to use. So let's say a new set is spoiled, you got Obeka, for example, or Rami, right? And I want to make a deck with one of those. I'll start from that. That's my starting point. I have a commander picked and I want to go from there. The second method is I have an idea of a deck I want to make. Okay. So maybe it's a landfall deck. Maybe it's a cycling deck, right? So I have a theme already in place, but I don't have a commander yet. So then I can come here and I can decide, what colors I want to use. I want to make an Esper cycling commander, right? And then I can see, okay, which one is going to fit my need, right? The third way that I make the method that I use to make a deck that probably nobody else really does, which is what I'm going to do today, is by color choice. For me personally, I don't like having too many decks in the same color combinations. I used to cap myself at one, but there was just too many. I have two Golgari decks that I really, really love, and I couldn't choose between them. So I have two Golgari decks, and I think I have two Celsnia decks. So now my cap is two. I try not to go more than two. I just don't want to have decks that are all the same colors, because then you're just going to be playing the same cards all the time. I've talked to guys who have like 12 Golgari decks, and it's like, man, like how many Assassin's trophies must you have, Like you have all the same card. You're basically playing all the same cards. Even if your decks are very different, and it is possible to have 12 Golgari decks that are all different, but you're going to have Assassin's trophy in all of them. You're going to probably have Putrefy in all of them, or whatever the case may be, right? It's just boring for me. I like to mix it up. Even though there are color combinations and colors that I don't really like, I still force myself, as a deck builder, I find it challenging. Today, I am going to pick, I'm literally doing this on the fly. I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm going to either go with Azorius or Dimir at the top here. I think I'm going to, I have an Azorius deck and a Dimir deck. I'm actually working on a second Azorius deck, so I'm going to go with Dimir. I'm probably not going to pick this deck for myself to actually play. This is just a run through to show people how my deck building strategy. So here's all the Dimir commanders. Again, this is why I really like EDH Rec. It has them all in rank by popularity, so I'm just going to skip the first few rows. I'm not even going to bother. For me, again, personally, I like to stay Rona. Actually, that's my Dimir deck. Rona, Disciple of Gix. It actually is a lot more popular than it used to be. It used to be like 50 decks. It's 222 now. So I'm gonna stay below that. So let's see. Taigam. I think I've made a Taigam deck before. Drelnu is interesting. Kells is interesting also. Dragonlord Silumgar. I try to stay away from stealing other people's stuff. I actually am thinking of making a Nimrus deck, so I'll stay away from that one as well. I made a Zareth deck. Didn't really love it, so I'm going to stay away from that. I'm obviously going to stay away from the vanilla creatures. You know, Ramirez T. Pietro is, it's got first strike, but it's essentially, it's awful, to be quite honest. I saw a really cool Ramses Overdark deck, actually, that I liked. I think I will... Dragon... Silumgar the Drifting Death is... Man, I saw this in I played against this in a dragon deck once. Someone was playing an Dragon deck, and they got Silumgar out, and man, this ability, whenever a dragon control attacks, creatures get -1 to turn. If they attack you with like 3 dragons, all your creatures... Like, it was just wiping my board every time. It was brutal. And it has hexproof, so you can't just remove it. Like, I really like having a commander with hexproof. I like that a lot, and there can't be too many. I don't like it costs 6. For me personally, I don't like high costing cast commanders. However, because if you wait till you get 6 mana, then you get it out and it dies right away, then it's like, okay, I got to start all over. Right? You got to wait a couple more turns, and then by that time, maybe the game's even over. So, but the fact that it has hexproof means that it's not just going to get removed right away. I really like that. So let's go with that, I think. Now, the issue here is, and if I scroll down, I can see all the cards that people are going to use in this deck, and I'm not going to do that. That is I could just go down here and pick all these cards that everyone else plays. I'm not going to do that. What I am going to do is I'm going to go to... First things first, I'm going to go types in here. Right, so this is the creature type, and I'm going to type dragon. Dragon, if I know how to type. And the format is commander, and we're in blue and black. Again, this is why I really like this, because for commander, it's great to have these color filters. And I'm going to exclude unselected colors. If you don't pick that, then you're going to get Esper stuff, and you're going to get, Grixis stuff. So you have to exclude the colors that you... Again, that's great for EDH, because you are excluding those colors in your deck, right? And that's it. I'm just going to start with that, because I imagine there's not a lot. I can't say for sure, but off the top of my head, I don't think there's going to be a lot. Yeah, 23. That's it. So... Acid Spewer Dragon... So that's not bad. So it puts +1 planners on each other dragon you control. That's good, because it's going to help our other dragons. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to open that in a new tab. Bell-Toll Dragon does the exact same thing. Oh, wow, look at that. Oh, the only difference is one has Death Pledge and one has Hexproof. Sure, we'll go with that. Exile Center. That's okay. And as you may pay, yes, that's good. I like that. Recurring stuff is great in EDH, especially late in the game. It's so great later in the game when you're starting to run out of steam and you have something like Boneyard Scourge in your graveyard. Catacomb Dragon is awful. I actually opened that in a pack back when I first started playing. I was pumped to see a black dragon because I had never seen one before, but otherwise it's terrible. Cloud Dragon, terrible. Deathbringer Regent is interesting. The thing is, I don't know if I'm going to go Dragon Tribal here, right? Because there just isn't enough. That just doesn't seem like a good... Oh, Dragon Lord Silumgar is good. Also on theme and, you know... See, I'm only going to take the ones that are really good, to be quite honest. Tap a creature, control that creature doesn't tap. That's okay. That's not bad. You can lock down someone's commander with that. Kokusho is obviously fantastic. No, don't like it. I don't like it. Don't like it. See, these are all like 6 drops. Like, if I'm going to have a 6 drop, I really want it to make an impact. You know, like when it dies. This is a 4/4 flyer. When it dies, you may destroy target creature with... That's just very low impact. Quicksilver Dragon. It's got a cool ability, but it's not helpful in this deck at all. When you first sacrifice a creature, Ruthless Death Fang. Okay, whenever you sacrifice a creature, target opponent sacrifices a creature. That is great if we would be sacrificed. Again, that's a good ability in another deck. Oh, Scourge of Eltoth from your created by paying and sacrificing 2 creatures rather than paying its mana cost. Anyways, I don't want to do that because we're probably going to have a lot of big creatures and we don't want to sacrifice 2 big creatures for 1 big creature. That makes 0 sense. As long as you control 4 or more artifacts. Shimmer, okay, we're not really playing an artifact deck. That's pretty good for an artifact deck, actually. Okay, there's our commander, and I'm not going to play an infect. I'll just tell you right now, as soon as you put this bad boy, Skithrix, on the table, everyone's going to be like, it's infect, get him. And again, that's one of my rules of deck building that, you know, maybe I'll make a list of my rules of deck building. I avoid infect. Infect is one of those things that it's like the boogeyman. It's one of those boogeyman things that people don't like. I avoid it. Let's just stay away from it. So, Massive Spear Dragons. I actually don't like this. That costs 7 to... Oh, that's so much. That costs 7. Don't like it. Okay, I like that. I like that. Kaiga is obviously fantastic. I like that Icefall region. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 5 dragons. Woohoo. So, what does this mean? Well, what this means, and I'm already formulating a plan in my head here. So what this means is that we are not going to go with that strategy. We're not going to go with Dragon Tribal. I don't really like tribal decks, period. We'll have a few. Great. Okay. What we are going to do, however, is go with a... So here's what we're going to do again. We're going to go text this time. And we're going to go creature type. If I can spell again. Because we want to be able to choose creature types. Now, the strategy I'm going for... Actually, you know what I'm going to do first? Changeling. Changeling. Always go for the changelings first. Whenever you're talking about creature types... here's the problem. By the way, when you do this color thing, it's not going to include colorless artifacts. So we're going to go to advanced. Rules text. And changeling. For anyone who doesn't know what that ability is, it gives you all creature types, which is handy in any tribal deck. Okay, and we're going to go colors, and I'm switching this to not because we do not want red. And we do not want white. And we do not want green. Those are the colors we don't want. We want it to be in the commander format, and we want it to be changeling. Okay. This is perfect. Amoeboid changeling because we can also change creature types. Perfect. That's perfect for the deck. As long as a creature flying in the graveyard... I like it. Let's do that. This is perfect, again, because it is unblockable. So it's going to get this trigger. this whenever a dragon you control attacks. So this is a dragon. And it's going to be attacking. It's a 1-drop that's going to be attacking every turn, and we can just be wiping our opponent's board like crazy. Okay, so the spells we don't want, let's avoid that. I like Grave Sifter, because we can get something out of the graveyard. I mean, we don't want to go too crazy. I like that. Again, it's a cheap card that we can give evasion, that can attack, that can, right? Shapesharer is great because we can turn our shapeshifters into other stuff. It can change itself into other stuff. I don't want too many. Again, Universal Automaton. I like Death Touch a lot in Commander. It's like having a ghostly prison out. Keeps people from attacking you. And that's good. Okay, so where are we at now? We got 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 cards. So we're well on our way. Now, of course, the next obvious thing to do here is change our creature types. So I'm going to keep all the colors. I'm going to get rid of the changeling, and I'm going to hit creature type. Right? So now I'm looking for cards that say creature type in the text, because that's going to give me cards that are allowing you to choose creature types. All right, so we have 186. That's actually more than I thought. All right, but luckily I know most of them, so I can skip through a lot. Like Adaptive Automaton, we're not doing that. What I'm really looking for is something like Arcane Adaption. That's what I'm looking for. Arcane Adaptation, sorry. Arcane Adaptation, what it's going to do is it's going to make all of our creatures into dragons. So anything that attacks is going to be giving -1/-1, right? So yes, that's definitely a yes. And no, we're not going to do that. No, we're getting all the changelings, so we probably could have done this all at the same time. We're not going to be doing that. We're not going to be doing that. Coat of Arms, super dangerous card. I avoid that at all costs. Conspiracy, again, is going to do the exact same thing that we're looking for. I like Cover of Darkness. It's going to give all of our dragons fear, which is good because we want them to be unblockable as much as possible. Remember, we're going to be attacking a lot. This is an attack trigger, right? No, that's... Tap 2 untapped creatures you control. You may put a creature... Now, we are going to have some changelings in this deck, so I think I might put that in there. Again, these are not... We're not going to put all these cards in the deck necessarily. These are all just... I'm just sort of brainstorming here, right? Target land, no. It's not, no, nothing there. Nothing. I'll probably cut lots of this out. Just searching for stuff. Choose a creature type other than... Do I want that? I don't know if I want that or not. Imprisoned in the Moon is just a good card. By the way, when I'm doing this and I see a card that I just probably want in the deck anyway, I'll just, set it to the side. Do I want Kindred Discovery? Kindred Discovery is fantastic. I don't see it nearly enough. Like whenever a creature enters the battlefield or attacks, draw a card. That's incredible. The thing is, you need to have enough of it to make it worth your while. I think we have enough of it, and we are going to be attacking a lot. So yes, Kindred Dominance, not so much. I don't think. Let me see. Oh, you know what? Crux of Fate is definitely got to go in this deck. That just came into my head. I was thinking about not killing dragons, because not killing dragons can sometimes be bad. If your opponent's playing a dragon deck, that could be brutal. We're going to put it in, though, I think. Nope. I don't think we want any of this. Mere forebears. Copy of a creature you control of the chosen type. I think we might pick that. That's an interesting one. Don't think we want... The other thing you could do with this deck is because you're changing creature types a lot, you could get into other shenanigans. We're getting to be a little bit much, though, because we already have some dragons. We have the changeling thing. It's getting to be a bit much. I might, however, because what you do is, if you've ever seen a changeling deck, a lot of people, what they'll do now, I've seen this a lot, is they'll use the Ur-Dragon as their commander and then make it a changeling deck, because changelings, the Ur-Dragon makes all your dragons cost less, which your changelings are technically dragons, so they all cost one less. And then you just put effects in there that benefit from certain creature types, like for example, a Zami will benefit, you'll tap your changelings to draw cards with her, right? So but I don't think we're gonna go that route. We're mostly looking just to wipe our opponent's boards. I mean, it's I should also make it clear this is a casual deck, right? So we're going to be looking for a strategy of around probably 6 or 7 power level, right? So being able to wipe our opponent's boards constantly is going to be really good. And there's one more thing I want to look up before we start putting this deck together. I think we just about have everything we're looking for. Path of Ancestry is probably good in this deck. Patriarch's Bidding I don't love. Again, Patriarch's Bidding is a card that if you're playing a super heavy tribal deck, it's good. But again, your opponents get to use it. It could be really bad for you if you're up against an elf deck or something, or a zombie deck, and they get to return all their zombies to play. It's sort of a coin flip card where it could be really good, it could be awful. I don't like cards like that. I think I like having some clone effects in the deck is good. I like Phyrexian Metamorph. Let's put that in there. That's terrible. Untap all creature. Man, some of these cards are so bad. 5 mana. Sacrifice it. Untap all creatures. Oh, wow. That's awful. 6 mana just to untap all of your creatures. Maybe. Terrible. All right. So, yeah, I think we got mostly what we're looking for with regards to that. Ooh, Species Specialist. All right, so I think it's neat. Some of these cards that, a lot of times when you do this, you'll come across cards, you're like, what the hell does that do? Most of these I'm familiar with, though. I'm tempted to put Unnatural Selection in here. I'm also tempted to put... I think I will put Urza's Incubator in there. Vanquish's Banner. We're not looking for the big beatdown necessarily. We're mostly looking to clear our opponent's board, so that they basically have nothing. Each creature you control is... Yes, that's what we want. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start... I got enough cards that I can start putting this deck together. Okay, so what I use for that is X-Mage. I like their deck building client. It's works good for me. You can also play online with it. I won't be doing that, but just to show you the deck building like to actually visualize the deck and put it together and get all the cards where you want them and the lands and everything. And then once you get it in here, you can play on X-Mage, or you can take that deck list and go somewhere else with it, go wherever you like with it. So I'm going to put all these cards, I'll probably cut this part out, but I'm going to put all these cards that I have now looked up into here. Okay, so I have all the cards in here. The last one here is Xenographed, so I'm thinking I don't want that, and here's why. This is why I like... So this is my commander here on the right side, right? I look at this cards that I picked out, and now I'm looking at it, and I can actually see, right, when we start talking about mana curve, when people talk about mana curve, what it is you have this curve like this, right? You don't want to have a really heavy over here or really heavy over here. You want to have a nice curve. 5 is kind of a lot, okay? Now, I already have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 5-drops. That's a lot for an EDH deck, I think. And I already have a couple of effects that do the Xenograph thing, so I might not put that in, because that's a 5, right? And I have a lot of includes already that I have to put in here. So I'm going to go through, and again, this is probably why, you know, I make decks quickly, is because there's so many auto includes that I don't really have to think about, that are just like, okay, well, that's going in, right? Like Cyclonic Rift, Toxic Deluge, right? There's a ton, just stuff that, you know, and this kind of goes to the direction that Rapid Hybridization is a good removal spell in blue. I like it a lot anyway. 1 mana to kill a creature. Let's do Demonic Tutor. That's always good. You know, if I can go on a rant for a little bit, one of the things that annoys me is that there is becoming so many auto includes in the format that it's just taking up more and more and more of your deck. Fierce Guardianship, right? Gotta have that in every blue deck. So, I mean, Soul Ring, obviously. So the list of auto includes for each color was probably at about, you know, 5 or 6 when I started playing. Now it's at about, I don't know, 20. It's a lot. But nevertheless, you don't have to, you know, when you say auto include, it doesn't have to actually be an auto include, but but we do need more board wipes. Yeah, one thing that really bugs me in games is people who don't have enough removal, right? And then I'm the only one with removal, and then it seems like I'm the sheriff who's keeping everyone at bay, and then everyone gets annoyed with me because I'm removing everyone's stuff. But yeah, removal wins games. That's like rule number 1 for me in Commander. Removal wins games. It doesn't matter what ridiculous thing your opponent is playing. If you have removal, you know, Omniscience is a ridiculous card, but guess what? Corrosive Grip gets rid of it. What else is fantastic? I don't play a lot of Dimir decks, as you could probably tell, so I don't know. I mean, we want counter spells. Let's do that. So Swan Song. Also, you know, if you're going to build this deck in real life, obviously cost is an issue. It's not here because I'm not actually, this is just for testing, right? So some of these cards, I honestly don't know what a lot of them cost. You know, you can figure that out if you actually want to put this deck together. For me, cost isn't so much of an issue. Although there are cards I stay away from. Oh, by the way, there are certain cards that I just absolutely will not play. And you'll notice I don't put them in this deck. Rhystic Study being one. Rhystic Study I don't put in any of my decks. I'm not going to put it in this one either. It's a great card, no question. I won't get into now why I'm not putting it in this deck. Talk about it later, maybe. So, what else do we need here? So we're up to 33. As you can see, we're up to 33 cards in the main deck. 14 creatures, 1 land. So I usually put, I find that people put too many lands in their decks. I put 34 in a non-green deck. In a green deck, I put 33 because obviously I'm searching for lands. That's what works for me. People will probably say that's not enough, but I find, just like a first turn Soul Ring, getting out of the gate really, really fast in a game is not exactly the best strategy. It just makes you a target. Again, I'll talk about my EDH strategies maybe in another video, but 34 lands is enough. You get free mulligan, so okay, so got all my lands in for the most part here. I got 31. I'm just gonna, right at the end, I just want to make a point about a few. Bajuka Bog, absolute auto include in a black deck. You need Graveyard Hate in a deck. At least one Graveyard Hate in all of your decks. I mean, you're just going to straight lose to a Muldrotha deck or something like that. If you don't have Graveyard Hate, there's no chance. You don't stand a chance. A Marin deck, those decks are just way too powerful if you can't remove their graveyard. And if you're in black, it's a land. Bajuka Bog, perfect, right? Also, land hate, and I don't mean mass land destruction, typically frowned upon in casual Commander. I don't recommend it. Wasteland. I don't use Strip Mine. I don't like it. It destroys basic lands, which you should never be doing in a casual game. There should be no reason why you destroy someone's basic land. That's just a dick move. Wasteland is, I like it. It's perfect. Ghost Quarter is another good one. But you have to be able to kill someone's Gaia's Cradle or Cabal Coffers, or if someone plays that Tabernacle in a casual game. Hopefully that never happens, but I've seen it. Also, one that there's lots of colorless lands. Now, how many colorless lands do you put in a 2-color deck? I like about 4 or 5. And you also don't want too many lands that are coming into play tapped, right? I'll also point out I have Minamo, School at Water's Edge, untaps your legendary permanents, typically your commander, which is going to be really handy, and Shizo is going to give our commander fear, again, something that's really handy when we want to be attacking with them all the time. I really like Arcane Lighthouse because I hate not being able to kill my opponent's creatures. They just put a Lightning Greaves on there and then you have nothing, which reminds me, we want Lightning Greaves as well. And also probably Swiftfoot Boots. We want to, again, we're protecting our commander and also attacking with our commander. So both those they're going to help for both of those. Oh wait, our commander has hexproof. Maybe we don't need it after all. We'll stick with the Lightning Greaves. I don't think we need Swiftfoot Boots because he already does have hexproof. I mean, we can put Lightning Greaves on any of our creatures, obviously. I prefer Lightning Greaves. I love not having to pay, because then I have 6 mana. I play my commander, and then I immediately equip it. I don't need that extra mana. I know people like the hexproof because Shroud can sometimes get you in a bit of a pickle. But, yeah, I prefer the 0 equip. That's just super handy. But anyway, back to our lands. I love having Arcane Lighthouse. Homeward Path is another good one. People stealing your stuff really sucks. The question is, now the one thing that is sort of up for debate is Cabal Coffers and Urborg. Typically, I put it in a 2-color deck that has black, so a black-blue deck or a black-green deck. I'm not going to put it in this one. And the reason why is that's a lengthy explanation actually, but I don't see the fit in this one. This is going to be a long game deck. It's not a deck that's going to win quickly, so we don't really need fast mana. We're going to get lots of mana as the game goes on anyway. We're not going to have Torment to Hellfire or Exsanguinate or any of those cards, so there's no reason for us to make tons of mana. I just don't see it in this deck. I put it in my mono black decks, sometimes in my 2-color decks, and that's it. I've seen people put Cabal and Urborg in 3 and 4-color decks. I think it's nuts because Cabal is literally a useless land in those decks if you don't have the Urborg out, and then someone just wastelands your Urborg, and then your Cabal Coffers is just a useless land. I don't like it. So let's go to Mana Rocks now. Let's get that out of the way. So Mana Rocks, Land Dig and Mana Rocks, same thing. Basically the same thing anyway. It's good to have both, but obviously if you're not in green, your Land Dig options are limited. Wayfarer's Bauble, right? Mitch from Commander's Quarters' favorite card. So we'll give a shout out to him as we put that in the deck. I like the Talismans. Personally, I don't love the Signets. The Signets, it's funny when you go on EDH Rec, the most popular multicolored cards are the Signets, right? In fact, we'll go there right now. So if you look at the most, these are all single colored cards, right? The first multicolored card is a Signet. That is the most popular one. Dimir Signet, Boros Signet, right? When we're talking multiple multicolored cards, the most popular multicolored cards are the Signets, which is, I find crazy. I don't love them that much because they cost mana to use. Sure, they come out for 2 mana. It's a 2 mana rock that taps right away, except it doesn't tap right away because it costs mana to use. So if you play it on turn 2, it just sits there and does nothing, right? Whereas a Talisman, you play it on turn 2 and you can immediately use it. It doesn't require mana to use. Sure, it'll ping you if you use the colored mana. So what? However, being that we aren't playing green, we're a little hard up. So, that reminds me. I also... Bounce lands. A little thing on bounce lands. So I like the bounce lands only in 2-color decks, or in a deck if that's specifically your strategy and you want to pick up lands. Great. I only like them in 2-color decks. I never would put a bounce land in more than 2 colors. Let's get rid of an island. By the way, bounce lands, by that I mean the ones that come into play, add 2 mana, and you bounce them, right? There's one for every color combination. I put them in my 2-color decks that aren't green. Again, if I already have ramp, there's no need for it. It just slows you down. The worst play, here's the worst play in all of EDH. Everybody ready for this? Here's a little tip for the day. The worst play in EDH. Turn 1, I play a land. Everyone else plays their land. Turn 2, I play a bounce land. Pick up the land that I just played. Now I have 8 cards in hand and I discard to hand size. Terrible. I see people do it all the time. It's not ramp. You're not ramping. You have 2 mana on turn 2. That's not ramping, right? It doesn't. Bounce lands don't ramp you unless you have an Amulet of Vigor out and it's speed and it untaps right away. Okay, if you play a bounce land on turn 2 and pick up a land, you now have 2 mana in play, and then the next turn you play a land and you have 3 mana. So you have 3 mana on turn 3. It doesn't speed you up. Don't do that, please. You're just discarding a card for no reason. It's a terrible play. So, back to the matter at hand. Mana Rocks, I like Worn Power Stone. Now, I've heard the rule of if you're going to play a Mana Rock for 3 mana, it better give you more than 1. So, Darksteel Ingot is out. I sometimes will play it. Again, might be certain reasons to play certain Mana Rocks in certain decks. In this deck, we have no particulars, so we're just going with what works best. I like Worn Power Stone, especially since we have a commander that is expensive. It's good. Adding that extra 2 is good. In fact, I think we might even put... I don't typically use Thran Dynamo, but I might use it in this one. Coalition Relic I love, especially in a deck with more than 1 color. It has the ability to add 2 mana. It also is great at color fixing. It's been a staple in Commander for a long time. People have stopped using it. I don't know why. I think it's still fantastic. Another one that is new that I have started to use, and the jury's still out, is Skyclave Relic, which has made Dark steel ingot completely obsolete because it is exactly a dark steel ingot, but also you can give it a kicker and get 2 copies. So for 6 mana, you're getting 3 mana rocks. Pretty good. I like cards that give you options in EDH. That's really good. So, as you can see, we're looking at our mana curve now. The 1, 2, and the 3 are starting to really build up. That's what happens when you add your mana rocks and stuff like that. The 4 is looking sad. That's another reason why I'm going to put Thran Dynamo in here. Because it is a 4-drop. So it's going to fill up that 4 spot. And we have an expensive, again, Thran Dynamo. I see people put Thran Dynamo in their Atraxa deck or something. Like, no, come on. You're playing a 4-color deck. Thran Dynamo only gives you colorless mana. No, don't put Thran Dynamo in any deck that has more than 2 colors. That seems bad. Okay, now utility. Let's think of some utility stuff that we can put. Spell Seeker, I love. It should be in every. When I first saw Spell Seeker, I thought it was going to be in every single blue deck. It isn't. I mean, if for the main reason that it gets a Cyclonic Rift, but whatever. Also, we do want as much creatures as we can here because we are going to be casting Conspiracy and Arcane Adaptation. And we want to be able to turn our other creatures into dragons, right? So, Ravenous Chupacabra. I love that card. Just straight up comes into play and kills a creature. No downside. Yes, you're in there like sin, and also a 4-drop. So, okay, so where it stands right now, we're at 75 cards, 30. We got our lands already. We're at 16 creatures. That's kind of low for a sort of tribal. I know it's not really a tribal deck, but it sort of is. It is Dimir. Dimir is typically, control, right? Oh, we need Dimir Signet still, right? I said I was going to put that in here. Of course, I can't put it in here if I spell it wrong, which I did. What do we have for mana rocks? So we got Soul Ring, Wayfarer's Bauble, Talisman. Oh, of course, we need the most auto-include in all of EDH next to Command Tower, which is Arcane Signet. It's funny, when I make a monocolored deck, Arcane Signet is the first choice. Like, it's crazy. It's better than any mana rock in any deck, no matter what you're playing. Silly, silly, silly card. Okay, so one more thing we want to do. We're giving our opponent's creatures -1/-1 a lot. So we want to give our creatures more minuses. So what I'm going to do, and I can use Gatherer, but I can also use this. I can search cards in here. -X, -X, we're going to look for. We already have Toxic Deluge, right? Because if we attack with a couple creatures, give all our opponents creatures -2/-2, and ooh, I like that. Bane of Living, right? Because if it's -X, -X, then we get to choose how much minus we're giving. So we're killing our opponent's creatures and not ours. All creatures, I like that. That is, yeah, that's going to work out real nice because then we get to choose again. I don't love morph creatures, but anyway. Just giving our opponent's creatures -1/-1 is also good. And there's a creature that I don't remember what it's called. And again, I throw keywords in there and that I can remember. And hopefully, there it is, Minister of Pain. Exploit a creature, creatures your opponents control, get -1/-1. So we can give everything a -1 until end of turn. Our opponent's creatures anyway. We don't want to wipe our own board as much as we can anyway. Knight of Souls Betrayal, that's what it's called. Yeah. I knew it was Knight something. Where is it? Where? There you are. All creatures are just going to have -1. Karvek also does that, right? No. Am I thinking of someone else? Karvek, Merciless. Again, this is part of the process. Things are just coming to my head as I make stuff, right? Karvek the Merciless. Yeah, that's how you spell it. See, I looked it up because I needed to know how to spell his name. If I'm thinking of the right card, anyway. Not sure if I am or not. Karvek Spite. There he is. He's spiteful. See? Spite. Spiteful Karvek. Alright. Yes. All creatures. Oh, other creatures. Okay, even better. And then one more is Constellation. Again, see, I don't know the name of the card, but I know that it has Constellation. It is... Did I spell Constellation wrong? Oh, man. Constellation. Now begin. Here we go. I think it has 2 L's. Constellation. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Not an enchantment deck at all, but doesn't matter. Doomake Giant. Doomake Giant or another enchantment enters the battlefield. Your opponent's yada yada yada. Bam. Alright, so I think we have enough of those effects. So that's good. So killing our opponent's creatures is going to be... another one I really like. Murderous Rider. Again, just straight up better than... Hero's Downfall is also really good. Murderous Rider is better because it becomes a creature, and then we can use that creature to do the other things we want to do in the deck. I think we probably need a few more counter spells. We have Fierce Guardianship. We have Swan Song. I like Negate in a Dimir deck. Non-creature spells are mostly what I'm going to be worried about. Don't really care that much about creatures. Only one creature, maybe 2 creatures in the whole game that I can think that I would want to counter right away, and that's Craterhoof and Vorinclex. Maybe Jin Kataxis, but those cards, even Jin Kataxis and Vorinclex, you can remove right away before their effect sort of kicks in. Craterhoof is the only creature I can think that I would ever want to counter, right? You can just remove stuff afterwards. Usually, I mean, there's situations where that's not going to happen. Of course, what would a deck be, an EDH deck be without Sad Robot, right? Again, another, I wouldn't say auto-include, but it's definitely a card that goes in a lot of decks. Less lately, again, that's like Coalition Relic and Solemn Simulacrum, where auto-includes in so many decks. Not so much anymore. So we're up to 85. The great thing about this is what I like making decks like this is because there is so many cards that it's like, I can just throw this in if I want to, maybe not. You're not really stuck on what's going to go in and what's not going to go in. A really neat thing you can do, again, this is why I like EDH Rec. We can go Dimir, and then we can go Dimir Staples. Opposition Agent. Again, for those watching this sometime in the future, Commander Legends just came out. I'm not sure if Opposition Agent is going to be that card that everyone is going to just absolutely hate you if you play. So Feed the Swarm, definitely. Feed the Swarm is an auto-include in a black deck. Gotta be able to get rid of a chance. That's one of the reasons why I didn't make a Dimir deck for the longest time, because people would play an enchantment and I couldn't get rid of it, and that's brutal. I like Thieving Skydiver. That's neat. Again, we can just put cards that we like in here now. Again, our strategy is to change all our creatures into dragons. let's, I think maybe we want one more tutor here. We really want Arcane Adaption. So if you want to save money, just a little quick tip, I do this a lot. If you want to save money and you don't want to pay for a vampiric tutor or something like that, Transmute is a great ability. So Arcane Adaption, or Adaptation for the umpteenth time, is a 3, so we want a 3. Perplex, counter target spell, that's pretty good. I like Drift of Phantasms though, it's a great blocker. 0/5 Flying Wall. Yep, let's do that. It's like a free tutor for your Arcane Adaption if that's what you really want to do. Another great, all the Transmute cards are in Dimir, so if you're in Dimir colors, there you go. Lots of options. Notion Thief. Again, we can, yeah, Notion Thief's a great card. One of those great gotcha cards if your opponent wants to wheel. We can just throw it in there because it's a good card and it's going to fit in our deck. Yeah. And I think that's pretty much it. Like, I can go through here. Again, the rest of the deck can probably be whatever you want. Baleful Strix, great card. Love that card. Again, a flying Death Touch creature is basically the same as having a Ghostly Prison. It just keeps your opponents from attacking you. It just sits there, and your opponent's like, too much trouble to attack that guy. I'll attack someone else, right? And then there's, lots of cards that you can put Treasure Cruise in there if you want. This is kind of what's left of the deck is basically, if you want to put Swiftfoot Boots in, if you want to put, Deadly Relic is definitely an auto include. Another thing is Exile. You want to have some Exile in your decks. Yeah, so this is, again, you can just go through here if you want. Find cards that you think will fit the deck. Everyone has their preference. Reconnaissance is a good one. We are going to be attacking a lot. That's one thing I did miss is we're going to be attacking a lot. So it's good to get those, draw triggers. Bident of Thassa. There's basically 3 of these cards. Now that Reconnaissance Mission came out, Bident of Thassa is the other one. Coastal Piracy is the other one. That was the original one. I don't think we need all of them. I'm going to leave it at that. There's 6 spots left. So I got 93 cards, 34 lands, 26 creatures. I got 6 spot left, obviously, because we want 99 in the main, right? Again, you can just go through here, find cards that people are playing. Maybe you want to try stuff like this. I don't know. Maybe you want more counter spells. Maybe you want more removal. Maybe you want more tutors. I would never play Diabolic Tutor in a deck, personally. And of course, the other thing you can do is just go to the Dragon Lord or Silumgar, the Drifting Death page and see what they have, right? This is one thing I didn't do. I was trying to avoid. This is the easy way, right? So they do have some of the changelings. Yeah, right? Oh, Mass Diminish. Okay, that's a great one. Yes. Oh, there's a strategy I missed. Turning all your opponent's creatures into 1/1s. Duh, man. Good one. I gotta say, this is my first time doing this as a video, and it's tough. It's when I'm talking and making a deck at the same time and making a video and trying to do it all at once. Certain things, my brain is elsewhere. That's a great strategy. Turn all your opponents into 1/1s and then wipe their board. Nice. So, yeah, basically, I like Dragon Sword. Nice. Yeah, that's basically it. I'm going to leave it at that. Again, there's a few spots left in the deck. If you want to make this deck, go ahead, fill the spots with whatever you want, more counter spells, whatever. But basically, I'm just giving you I don't know how long that took me. I guess, well, I'll edit the video and we'll see. I think it was around a half hour maybe. So what I'll do now is I'll play this deck a few times. If it doesn't work at all, then that's that, right? That's the way I do it. If the deck doesn't work at all, it's like, okay, well, this deck is trash. I spent $0. It only took me like a half hour of my time. No big deal. Move on. Maybe I want to make some tweaks. Maybe I want, likely that's what will happen. I'll play a couple games and I'll realize I probably need some more removal. Maybe I need more counter spells. Maybe I need more, whatever my strategy is. Maybe I need more effects that give my opponent -1/-1. Maybe I need more effects that have a payoff for that. Maybe I want to put stuff in like Black Market, right, where I am getting benefit, right, which is another thing. You can start putting effects like that in. I'm going to be killing a lot of my creatures, my opponent's creatures, so maybe I want a benefit like that, right, where creatures are dying and I'm getting payoff for it. Yahenni is another card that is almost an auto include. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. You guys can finish it off however you like, change a few things, do whatever you like. I just wanted to give a quick video about, like, for me, this is a little rushed, I would say. I would probably take my time a little bit more, but typically it takes me under an hour to make a deck. I play tested a few times. Again, if it works, great. Then I can tweak. You're always going to be tweaking a deck. So if someone says, "Oh, well, it takes 3 weeks or 4 weeks to play test and tweak," no, you're always going to be tweaking a deck. Always, you're always going to be figuring stuff out. You're going to play against, certain decks, and then you're going to go play against another deck and go, "Oh man, I don't have," some guy's going to have an omniscience, and you're going to go, "Oh wait, I didn't put a enchantment removal in my deck. I have no way to deal with that," right? It's going to be something that, it's going to be an epiphany that comes to you, 2 months from now, right? And then there's always new cards coming out, right? So it shouldn't take you that long to play test a deck. You just need to find out if the basic theme of what you're trying to do actually works, right? And play a few games, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5, whatever you like. But as far as actually making a deck, that's pretty much it. We got the basics down there. That's all. So yeah, thanks for joining me. We'll see you in the next video.